Hi BookTube, welcome to a Sideline. We're going to do a tag video because I have so many tag invitations to catch up on, so I want to get through those. Today we're going to do the Read Smart tag. This was co-created by Ruben at Two Readers It May Concern in collaboration with Emmelie at Prose and Petticoats, and I was invited by Jay Shea. Thank you, Jay. Okay, let's get started. Question 1. What is your strategy to stay focused and engaged while reading? Well, what's helping me right now is setting a timer. And I don't know why this helps. My theory is that it feels protective. It helps me set boundaries. It reminds me that this time that I've set aside for reading, it's going to be okay because it's protected by the act of setting a timer. And also I won't overrun. I don't know. It somehow sort of says this time I have said is reading time. And I don't know if this is an older woman thing. I don't know. Like, I've only got a few examples. Me, a few other people I know. But okay, of that small sample that I know of older women, we often end up with accumulated responsibilities, right? Where we could be holding down a full-time job, we can have children living at home, or we can be helping our adult children look after their children, giving them childcare so they can go to work. We might be looking after one or more aging parents. And the division of household labor, I hate to have to say this, but for our generation, we often find it's not 50-50, okay? I'm just saying that, right? The effect of all this accumulated responsibility for me is I have a state of mind it's always on edge, right? I'm always a little wary. I always think there's something I should be doing that I've forgotten and it's going to hit me later, or I'm expecting to be interrupted any second, so it's very difficult for me to just settle into what I want to do. So ideally, going back to the timer thing, I set the timer for an hour. That's what I like at a minimum. But I'm also finding that setting a timer is really helpful when I don't have that much time. Sometimes I get such a downer when I am busy, when I'm running around and I think, oh, I haven't got time to read, and it's so unfair, and I've only got 15 minutes. What does it even matter? But when I do capture those pockets of time, when I set a timer and say, okay, you've got 15 minutes, so read for 15 minutes, and I do that, it is reassurance because I start to see those pockets of time build. I see how it accumulates, and I see how much I actually do read in that amount of time. So it is really encouraging. Question 2, how does your environment influence your focus, and what can you do to optimize it? Well, what amazed me is how little it took to lose my ability to focus, right? Look at the face, right? This is a pre-internet kid. I was in my late 30s before I got an internet connection, and I was in my 50s before I had a smartphone. I never used to have any problem focusing when I was reading. But oh my, you-know-what. When I got that smartphone, when I downloaded all the social media apps we all do, and then I did the doom scrolling thing. I mean, in my case, it was really fluffy scrolling, but the doom gets in there. I mean, you just cannot filter it out no matter how much you try. And I suppose I thought, oh, I'll be different because I'm older, right? that the effect of having all these little bits of varied information hitting my brain over and over and over again, that wouldn't change my brain very much. Well, it did. It did. I really noticed the difference. I have a certain number of books on my shelves right now. They have bookmarks somewhere in the middle of them. It wasn't a DNF. I didn't want to stop reading. I just lost focus, and then I lost focus for like days. I tried to pick it up, still couldn't do it, and I didn't know if I could be relied upon to start the book again and actually get through it no matter how many attempts I made. So I would just end up giving up altogether. Then I started in 2015, 2016, I pulled away from social media as much as possible. Started with Facebook, left Facebook because of Brexit and Trump. Never regret that decision. Then I gave up Twitter, I gave up Instagram, gave up Discord, gave up Tumblr. I have WhatsApp, but I only use it to message about a handful of people that I know and can talk to face-to-face if I need to, but if I'm not face-to-face with them, that's how I send messages. I don't conduct conversations on WhatsApp. I have done tarot readings using it, but that is a pretty focused activity. I would not say that my concentration levels are back to what they were, but they are so much better. And to help myself focus now, what I also do is put on noise canceling headphones, and I play those videos on YouTube that are ADHD concentration aids the music and the beat, the binaural beat. And that also is really helpful. Helpful too if I need to concentrate when I'm writing. Question 3, what methods do you use to retain and recall the information from what you've read? I suppose that's a big reason for starting the YouTube channel, really, when I think about it. The work that it takes to put together a review. I've got to make my way through a series of set questions, or if I'm reading a longer work like the Napoleon, the 1812 book, I need to summarize each chapter, catch the main points, and pick out a particular quote. So I have to go back and review the book as well. All that is helping me to retain more. But that being said, my retention, it's not great. I mean, it never has been. I've always been an absent-minded kind of creature. I think there's a point too where your brain just gets too full of stuff. And so I just try not to worry about it too much. Question 4, how do you approach difficult or challenging material? I've got quite a list here, so I'm just going to read through it. First of all, slow down. Slow down, I slow down. I try not to read too much of the book at one sitting. Secondly, I always take time to Google words or personalities, concepts that I've never heard of before that I don't quite understand. I will look up words in other languages and translate them if there are passages quoted in another language. I will look for YouTube material. It's amazing what's on YouTube that will talk you through and explain the context of a book, or even walk you through a book chapter by chapter. There are free university lectures. You can often get a free sit-in on a class. Those are cool. And also online materials about the book. And a JSTOR. I'm going to say JSTOR again in case no one's gone to JSTOR. JSTOR is a great place. You can get a free subscription and you can read the kind of academic journal articles that tend to deal with difficult and challenging material. And you can type into their search a topic or just the title of a book, get loads of articles. And sometimes it's just those people's understanding. If they've really studied a book, they can give you just tiny pieces of insight. It's not easy reading and you won't get everything they say in articles, because I sure don't. But if you pull out one or two really important facts, it can just illuminate a book that's otherwise just not opening itself up to you at all. But then also, I think knowing history, the history surrounding the time the book was written and the author's biography, I think they're really important. Sometimes that provides insight too in what the author might have been trying to achieve. Who was he trying to emulate, if anything? What market was he aiming for? And what did that market do? And how did they like to buy their fiction? You gain so much from that. Also, if you do tackle difficult or challenging material, I think always reward yourself. Always work out a way to reward yourself with the kind of reading you like, especially if it's new, and you suddenly, if you've done just YA and you suddenly think, okay, I want to join all these people doing Dickens and Austen and Faulkner and Steinbeck, and I just think, okay, you can, but those books are going to be like a bit like that to begin with. So I think, why don't you pick one, anyone, doesn't really matter. Read it really slowly, like take several months to read it. And in between that time, while you're reading it in tiny little pieces, fill out the gaps with lots of stuff you really like reading. The time will go, you will finish the book. And also I think keeping a journal as you're reading those books. So as you look things up and as you learn things, just write them down in like a commonplace book or a journal, something that you can page back to and review. And I think also that the biggest thing to remember with fiction or nonfiction, because these are written for academic audiences almost always, or literary academic audiences, is that not understanding everything about one of these books is absolutely fine. There are literary books that we all get pushed at us in schools and university, and we read them and we think, okay, well, I kind of understood this and I kind of understood this, and we think, oh, failure. It's not a failure. Like, you've got that, and were you ever to revisit the book again, you would get something else. It's just inevitable that revisiting the same text that's difficult, you've already grasped a couple of ideas. You'll start finding you grasp a couple more. And it's also cool too, I think, if you tend to read a lot of that material, if you decide to tackle it a lot over time, you will see how authors borrow from other authors. You'll see how ideas repeat themselves, concepts come back again, and that's rewarding because you start to spot things all by yourself without needing anyone's help. And that's I don't know. That's kind of a shot in the arm for me anyway. Question 5. What role do note-taking and annotation play in your reading process? This is an area I'd really like to improve if I could. I love marking up books. I love writing in my books. I love writing about the books that I read. But I haven't discovered a consistent approach that I can use across different kinds of books. And maybe I shouldn't look for one approach, but I'm watching loads of YouTube videos on annotation, and I'm very tempted by all the pretty stationery. But I know that I'd be more likely to stick to a method if it was simple, if it didn't involve a lot of equipment, and if it could be versatile, if it could go between fiction or nonfiction and work equally well either way. Or maybe there'd be a different way to use the materials for fiction versus nonfiction. But note-taking alone, I found, is never enough. Note-taking has to have a purpose. In university, I took notes to write essays. And now I take notes in order to write my reviews. And I feel like that's what BookTube is brilliant for, because you can take whatever you've spent time learning and noting about books and you can share it. And that really does burn it into the brain, at least for me. Question 6. How do you balance reading for pleasure with reading for personal or professional development? Well, thankfully, at the moment, there's no difference between those two things. There used to be. I do struggle a bit reading textbooks, any textbooks, even my English literature textbooks at university. I found them really tough reading. I don't know what it is about textbook writing. They always manage to make any subject, even ones I really want to learn about, they somehow manage to make it a bit dull. But that's not a problem at the moment, so thank goodness for that. Question 7. What is the importance of setting reading goals? The importance to me is self-knowledge, self-discovery. Not every reader wants to discover themselves. There are lots of people that they'll read no matter what. They'll finish a book, they'll start another when they're ready, and however many they read is however many they read. What they read is what they read. No problem, no issue. But I really like setting goals because that's my way into discovery. I discover how I read exactly, how often I make time for reading, how quickly I can get through a book. And setting goals means you learn from your failures. You learn to review and see, well, what went wrong? I mean, there's no real failure. If you set out to read 50 books and you only manage 30, well, you read 30 books. It's still an achievement. But a goal just helps so much. I plan my reading time. Now, if I didn't plan my reading time, if I just left it to chance, yes, I love books, but if I just left it to chance, I don't think I'd get as much read as I do presently. Question 8. What are some strategies for overcoming reading slumps or lack of motivation? I'm not sure I'm the right person to do any advising on this. I think that might be a mistake. I've never had a reading slump. Not truly. I think you could talk about lack of motivation if you pick up, the pre-giving up social media thing. But it wasn't that I lacked motivation. It was that social media had a pull. It was very dangerous, and I had to pull away for a while before I stopped feeling that pull. I do have viewing slumps. When it comes to watching films or television, a series, let's say, people say, oh, you ought to watch this series on Netflix or whatever. And I try, and it's very rare for me to commit to a series. I always end up losing motivation because I'm always thinking of what I could be reading or writing in that time. And that's a pull. That's a pull as well. I'm speculating now. I don't know whether slumps for some people might be a sign that they're trying to read too much, that they need to open up spaces in their life for other things, or they haven't maybe identified what kind of reader they are. Some people only want to read one genre of books. They love it, and that's them, and it's perfectly fine. So I think if you're reading a variety of books and somehow that's not working, you feel lost, maybe you are a one-genre reader. Or maybe if you are a one-genre reader and you're starting to get bored, especially I think a solid YA diet, surely for a good reader that you want something a bit more eventually, and so I think maybe that's time to branch out and start exploring something else. I also had a thought about DNFs. You know how I'm always blabbing on, commit to a book, la 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 la. Make fun of myself there. Well, it occurred to me, hey, why don't I take a different view of this? Instead of telling people, commit to a book, what about trying something like deliberate sampling? I'm winging this, okay, because it's a tag video and I can't. What if you took 1 week, 2 weeks, I don't know if I'd go more than that, 1 week or 2 weeks, and you decided that you would only sample the first 5 or 10 pages of as many books as possible. So, for the sake of argument, we're going to say setting a goal to read the first 10 pages of 25 different books, okay? That's 250 pages. As you finish each sample, you privately rate it, right? So you record whether you, A, definitely want to read on, B, you could read on, but you don't have any strong feelings about it, or C, you're really, really glad that you stopped at 10 pages. And then your category A books, those would be the ones you committed to read. And I just wonder if, that 250 pages that you invest in sampling, that's the length of one novel, isn't it? But you're sampling 25. I just wonder, would that be a better way to use reading time than say, you start 3, 4, 5 different books, you get 50, 75, 100 pages in, and you think, oh, no way. I thought that's a lot of pages. That's a lot of time spent on a book that you're not really into. Would it be better to do a bit of deliberate sampling, and then from that sample, pick the ones that, it was hard to have to let yourself pull away and go on to the next sample. But if you did it consistently, would you get a better choice of books to read? And would you find that you needed to DNF less often? I don't know. Throwing that out there for what it's worth, because I thought of it literally 10 minutes before I came to record. So there we go. That's how tried and tested that theory is. Oh, thank you everybody for letting me speculate, rabbit on. I love tag videos for that. Now, tagging other people. That's important, isn't it? I've seen a lot of BookTube creators. I'm going to leave that. I won't edit it out, right? You have to know that I do this kind of thing. I'm going to open out this tag. A lot of people have done it already. So I'm going to open it out and say, anybody watching this video, if you've seen all these questions and you thought, ooh, yeah, they speak to me. I want to share my own strategies for reading smarter. Well, you go for it, because I would love to watch your answers. That's it, everybody. Thanks very much for coming in and checking out this video. I'll be with you again in a few days' time. Probably now. What shall I say will be next? Oh, yeah, no, a nonfiction review. So look out for that. Okay, take care, everyone. See you again soon. Bye-bye.